Tanzania declares an election winner, despite vote-rigging claims. In our Music Maker segment, unique Kenyan coastal harmonies. And from the political to the notorious, there's a costume for every interest. Africa 54 starts right now.
Good evening, I'm Lenore Moudou. This is Africa 54. Topping our broadcast tonight, John Magufuli, the announced winner of Tanzania's hotly contested presidential election, was presented with a victory certificate Friday. Supporters of Magufuli, the candidate of the ruling Chama cha Mapinduzi party, danced in the streets of Dar es Salaam late Thursday in celebration of his victory. The Electoral Commission says the president-elect received 58% of the ballots cast. Edward Lowassa of the opposition coalition Ukawa came in a distant second with 39%. Lowassa is calling for a recount, but international observers have declared the election as peaceful and credible. The Electoral Commission has not announced when Magufuli will take over for outgoing President Jakaya Kikwete. For the latest election news, Africa 54's Vincent Makori joins us live via Skype from Dar es Salaam. Good evening, Vincent.
Good evening, Lenore. Now, as Tanzania prepares itself to open a new chapter and a new president, the youth of this East African nation say this is their moment. Now, I sat down with a number of them to get their thoughts, and here's one.
Okay, my name is Sibera Bauji. I am a student of the International Relations and Diplomacy at the Center for Foreign Relations in Tanzania, and recently with the recently ended elections, I was a member of the ICGLR Youth Observers Mission.
Prior to this election, many people said that the youth of Tanzania will determine the outcome of this big election. Why do you think that was the case?
Multi-party in Tanzania has sort of risen up, and we want change, and we feel we are part of that change.
What change do you want? You know, what change do the youth of Tanzania want?
The change I want is whereby us as youth, we walk our talk. Whereby if we say we want employment, we should not just speak of employment, we should employ ourselves. Because I believe a lot of people are poor because they consume, but we should actually be supplying, not just consuming all the time.
What did you hear from the politicians standing on both sides of the political divide that made you feel that they resonate with your aspiration as a young person of Tanzania?
Apart from their election campaign speeches, I personally think it was the motive behind. What made me vote was the motive behind the leader I voted for. It's not about what they said, but it's about what I see in their heart. I voted for someone who I know has Tanzania's interests at heart, not personal interests or party interests.
Would you have wanted to see a person who's much younger run? Because on both sides, people have been around for some time. And, there's no youth.
Honestly speaking, age is a number, but maturity is not determined by age. So whether it was a young person or an older version, they say gray hair is a sign of wisdom. So I believe those leaders that contested were wise. Yes.
You're a lady. Is there a particular thing that you think is of greater interest to the young women of Tanzania that they would like to see happen in this country? They would like to see leadership do in this country?
I think they would like to get more opportunities to have various leadership positions, and also we need to be mentored or groomed for the future leadership positions that we as young women will take over in the country. That's mainly what I think.
So there's been a lot of talk about having more women nominated to parliament. As a younger person, do you think that will help the women of Tanzania, particularly the younger women, perhaps to inspire them more?
Honestly speaking, Rwanda has inspired many. We do need more ladies in parliament. However, I think we need more ladies doing other things that will bring change than fighting for parliament positions.
So, Vincent, you spoke to a number of young men and women in Tanzania. What do they say is the role that they will play in the next term with this new president?
Well, they say they want to be more involved in everything, the development of this nation. I mean, so many are very creative, they're resourceful. They want the system to present them the opportunities. They want the government to ensure that there are structures that make it possible for them, for example, to start businesses. For those who have no jobs and relying on employment, they want to see the economy grow in such a way that it creates opportunities for them to get meaningful and gainful employment.
So now it's a significant day for the ruling party. A certificate was presented. Everything is sealed at this point?
That's correct. The certificate that was issued today recognizes Mr. John Pombe Magufuli as the elected or the president-elect of the Republic of Tanzania. And now he only awaits the swearing-in ceremony, which will take place on November the 5th.
What does this mean for the opposition, given that they rejected the results and there were some contestations there?
Pretty much their fate is sealed. They can do nothing about this. As of today, it is official that Tanzania has a new president. The law does not allow the opposition to petition this. In fact, it does not even allow them to protest or demonstrate against this on the streets. That means, they can just plan for the next election in 5 years. They have no recourse in whichever way you can think of.
So if the law says no protest, no demonstration, does this mean that the streets of Dar es Salaam are quiet, peaceful?
They're quiet, they're peaceful. I mean, there's a lot of celebration around the country, and particularly in the neighborhoods of Dar es Salaam. But again, Tanzanians seem to be fairly peaceful people. They treasure their peace. They don't want to disrupt the peace. They have not responded to any calls of violent demonstrations. I don't think it is so much about the law. It is just that the demeanor and the outlook of Tanzanians is that they treasure this piece of the nation more than anything else. And therefore, we haven't seen anything. We don't expect to see anything, at least mainland Tanzania, but we still have an unresolved issue in Zanzibar.
Now, quickly, Vincent, what do you see as some of the priority, if not one top priority for this new administration?
It's economic development, infrastructural development around the country. The youth want a system that can absorb them into, the path of development. That is mostly what they're crying out for, and that is what they wanted from whoever wins this election. They want to be able to develop and move ahead, just like all the other youth of the world.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Fantastic reporting, Vincent. And that was Africa 54's Vincent Makori reporting from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. Now to Cote d'Ivoire. Meanwhile, the country is supporters of President Ouattara Alassane continue to celebrate in his overwhelmingly re-election victory. He garnered 84% of the vote. Mr. Ouattara has been praised for transforming the nation's economy, but he has also been criticized for not doing enough for reconciliation and justice. The president spoke to VOA's Tatiana Mossad about his priorities for his new term, including changing the constitution.
Thank you for talking to Voice of America, Mr. President. If this should be your last mandate, what is the legacy you wish to leave behind you?
Thank you. Yes, the election was quite good, transparent, credible, democratic. That was something I wanted us to achieve, because the last election was very bad in terms of the results and the crisis we lived after. Now, for my legacy, I want to give my country a new constitution, which will be more modern, more coherent, which will insist on the equality of people, of the chances of people, of the gender, and also give more prospect to the youth. This is very important. In short, I want the country to be more democratic. I hope by the time of my last term, in 2020, that Cote d'Ivoire will be seen as a model of democracy and also of the rule of law. and of course of good economic progress. And my economic policy and my objective is to reduce poverty, because the poverty level was very high. I think we will make it.
This is my next question, Mr. President. Which steps are you taking to transform a miracle double-digit growth into a sustainable growth in Côte d'Ivoire, which is like in one of the poorest regions of the world?
Well, of the world, but not of Africa. Côte d'Ivoire clearly spent 10 years of crisis. This had a negative impact on the country. But for the past 4 years, we've had a growth rate, an average annual growth rate of 9%. And this will continue. We will continue to give emphasis on the private sector because I am a liberal. I believe in liberal policies. We have taken some important measures, some reforms, which everyone thought was not possible. Secondly, we want to give more efficiency in the public sector and public investment. Doing all that will get a very high rate of growth to reduce the level of poverty. Now we were above 50%. We've reduced it by 10% in 4 years. My objective is to reduce it by half for my next term by 2020. And I think it's possible because the people of Côte d'Ivoire, the mentality has changed. I want a new Ivorian who will think that working hard, being disciplined, being together, and be open to others, those are the main ingredients of success of a country like the United States, where I studied and where I lived for a long time. So I want Côte d'Ivoire to be a small America.
Mr. President, the reconciliation is really important. Do you think that the economy, the good health of the economy could help?
Good economic policies and a good economic situation help reconciliation, and that has been the case. You see, after what we experienced, to have this election, which was very peaceful, with a very high turnout, more than 50%, having the president elected at 84% majority. This shows that reconciliation is making progress. But we have to do more because it's important for the country, for the next generation. And I will continue to do my best to continue to reconcile my compatriots.
Now, internet freedom around the world keeps eroding, according to a new report by the independent watchdog group Freedom House. The organization says that for the 5th year in a row, more nations are censoring information online and demanding companies and individuals take down content or face retribution. Alberto Pimienta has the story.
Freedom House says in places like China, Russia, and Iran, posting content on the internet that offends the government can land you in jail.
They tend to arrest users for writing about human rights in opposition.
In its annual Freedom of the Net report, the organization says China is still the worst offender. A Chinese university professor was jailed for life for questioning government policies online.
China has definitely been more aggressive in the last couple of years under Xi Jinping in terms of censorship. They've blocked Google, they've blocked Gmail and other Google services. They've arrested more online activists.
In Syria, bloggers risk being killed. In Iran, the third worst performer, despite improved online access, conservative factions in the country's leadership keep a tight control. Despite the censorship, people find ways to connect, especially when it comes to social media sites like Facebook and Twitter. However, these are blocked in China and Iran.
It is actually because of their desire to connect to these popular media platforms, it is that they're seeking circumvention tools and they're seeking the use of VPNs so then they can bypass censorship.
But how a person uses social media in countries like Iran can have serious consequences. A young Iranian cartoonist was sentenced to 12 years in prison for this post on Facebook, depicting lawmakers as animals. Alberto Pimienta for VOA News, Washington.
Now, a Freedom House report on internet freedoms in sub-Saharan Africa says top performers such as South Africa are backsliding. The report cites infringements on the freedoms of expression and association. It says countries such as Gambia and Ethiopia are more repressive, while others on the continent continue widespread corruption and discrimination against women and the LGBT communities. Nigeria, South Africa, and Kenya top list of internet users, but they are also backsliding in terms of internet freedom. We want to know what you think about Africa 54 and the stories we cover. Join the conversation on Facebook. The address is Africa 54, and check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com. Coming up, drawing on the Kenyan coastal musical heritage to create a unique sound. Stay with us.
This is BizBeat.
At a farmhouse outside of Rome, milk is being heated in a churn to make yogurt. But Seydou Bald and Ismail Mawada used to pick fruit at Italian farms under poor conditions and poor pay, $2 an hour if they got paid at all. The men immigrated from different parts of Africa years ago. Today they run their own successful dairy business, selling their yogurt to clients in Rome with partner Cheikh Diop. Diop says, at Rosarno in southern Italy, we picked oranges during the winter in the rain. It was cold, there was no heat, and you slept in shacks. The name of the yogurt is Barakama, which means resilient, representing the long struggle it took to make it in another country. Today, the men sell 250 liters of yogurt a week, enough money for a living wage, and they also grow and sell organic vegetables. A main entry point for migrants. Some 180,000 people arrived in Italy the first 8 months of this year. For VOA's BizBeat, I'm Philip Alexio.
Welcome back. It's time for our Music Makers segment, and today we're featuring a rising star of traditional music from the Kenyan coast. His name is Bado, and Heather Maxwell, host of VOA's Music Time in America radio program, in Africa rather, recently interviewed him in Nairobi.
There's a song that I want us to play now. It's called Mzungu Mgiriama.
I'm not going to try to repeat that.
Mzungu Mgiriama. You can try to say Mzungu Mgiriama.
Mzungu Mgiriama.
Mzungu Mgiriama.
Mzungu Mgiriama.
Yes. That's a good try. Mzungu Mgiriama means a white, but same time, Mgiriama. Because I had many friends in the western side. They used to ask me if you can make your music, you can as well do it in English so that we can hear what you're talking about, or maybe someone else out there can hear what you're talking about.
Yeah, that makes
so I
sense.
used to do my music in English. A lot of my stuff was in English.
Does it feel better to sing in your own language?
Yeah, because you need to be famous in your area first, your territory first, before you cross the border.
Oh,
so I used to do it in English, but I'm not a white.
Yeah.
I'm African.
Yeah.
In fact, Mgiriama, so Mzungu Mgiriama, that's where the name came from.
Okay, that's great. What style would you say this is in? What style?
This one is well Tarab, yeah. It's Tarab as well.
Tarab.
Yeah. You want me to sing it as well?
I do, of course. I can't wait.
Siwa mtezo wirau siwa made. Siwa mtezo wirau siwa made. Wenda kipaji na chamba umlasoni. Unenda kipaji na chamba umlasoni. Usinige mimi wehawe undangamika. Usinige mimi mwenewe undangamika. Ahe Mzungu Mgiriama. Do this. Ihale ngumani ni Mzungu Mgiriama. do it. You do it's chakacha style, but at the same time you do it with because it's Mzungu Mgiriamas. There's African in it and there's Western in it. So you shake your.
Let me try it.
You shake your shoulders as well. Shake your waist. You do
the waist, the whole thing, top to bottom.
Yes.
Okay, well.
Because mostly when the African dance, mostly, especially the Mexicana, they shake their shoulders.
Oh. I've seen this even here in Nairobi. I've been out in the night.
The cultures are the same, I think, because we have some other cultures also here in Nairobi that dance the same as Mexicana.
Oh,
yeah, so
this shoulder thing.
Yeah,
do the women also dance with their shoulders like that? Or is it a little slightly different? Oh, yeah, that's what I noticed.
And the ladies,
they shake the other parts.
Shake the.
We'll all practice that shoulder move, I think. Well, it's time now for a short break. Still to come on Africa 54, a roundup of the hottest costumes this Halloween. We'll be right back.
Kwa hiyo nakaribishwa ni shirika kabisa cheti. Baada ya hapo tutakuwa
Welcome back to Africa 54. Here is what's trending. Pop culture experts say ripped from the headlines, costumes to celebrate the October 31st holiday are a way for adults to connect in a world splintered by a myriad of choices for information and entertainment. Not surprisingly, Donald Trump is a top costume choice this Halloween. One of the most popular costumes this year among adults is the optical illusion dress, the subject of an online debate earlier this year that went viral over its color. The hat seller is a compromise, half blue and black, half white and gold. Also popular, Cecil the Lion. 20% of the Cecil costume proceeds will go to wildlife conservation. How about that? Meanwhile, in Mexico, since escaping from Mexico's most secure prison in the summer, little has been seen of the notorious drug lord known as El Chapo. But that might all be about to change this Halloween after a Halloween mask company decided to cash in on the kingpin's audacious breakout. An El Chapo costume complete with mask and prison uniform is expected to be a big seller. Then again, would you really want to dress like one of the world's most wanted fugitives? I'm not so sure. And finally, why should humans have all the fun on Halloween? Fans of pugs in Ukraine had their fill of scary and cute from the beloved dog breed in Kiev at a Halloween-themed costume contest and fashion show. About 100 dogs dressed as spiders, angels, dragons, and film characters showed off their costumes at the city's Glory Park. The pug was brought from China to Europe in the 16th century. In recent years, popularity of the dog breed has grown, partly due to popular culture with international celebrities who are often seen carrying their pets out in public. And that's what's trending today. It's time for our Friday Sports Report, and Sunny Young joins us with the sunny side of sports. Sunny, the NBA is back on the court.
Back on the court, Lenore. Sporty greetings once again to our Africa 54 viewers. The National Basketball Association tipped off a new season this week. In the western U.S. city of Oakland, California, the Golden State Warriors unveiled their championship banner from the rafters. The Warriors danced a bit And then they began defense of their title with a 111-95 victory over the New Orleans Pelicans. Meanwhile, in Chicago, President Obama was courtside for the season-opening Chicago Bulls-Cleveland Cavaliers game. The president saw the Bulls edge LeBron James and the Cavaliers 97-95. The Cavs advanced to the NBA Finals in June, falling to the Warriors 4-2.
Give it up for the world champion, U.S. Women's National Soccer Team. Hey!
The president gave tribute to the American women just shortly before he traveled to Chicago. There we see the American women. One of the players at the White House ceremony was Abby Wambach, who announced she's retiring in December. The 35-year-old Wambach is the most prolific scorer in international football history. She scored 184 goals, the most by any player, male or female. Abby was named the 2012 Women's Player of the Year by FIFA, World Football's governing body. In addition to lifting the World Cup trophy earlier this year in Canada, Abby Wambach won 2 Olympic gold medals with the U.S. women's national team. She says she's retiring after a friendly match December 16th against China in New Orleans, Louisiana. Here's a Sunny Side of Sports salute for Abby Wambach. I'm VOA Sonny Young, and that's the Sunny Side of Sports. Lenore?
Sonny, I see you are dressed to impress. Thank you, Sonny. Be sure to watch Sunny Side of Sports every Monday and Friday on Africa 54. That's our show for today. Be sure to watch Africa 54. Thank you for watching. Good night.
Music is something that brings people together.
Music educates, it motivates, it's a bridge.
Music. Allie.
On
VOA.
qubanaha VOA waxaan ku soo gudbinnaa qubanayaal goosgoosa oo xiiso badan oo ku saabsan arrimaha Soomaaliya, Maraykanka iyo caalamkaba.
haddaba qubanaha VOA-da kala soco website-keena voasomali.com.
From VOA Learning English, this is the Technology Report.
I'm Mil Arcega. I'm the host of VOA's The Correspondents.
A roundup of the world's top stories.
Here's a false choice in more ways than one.
We can't actually put you there, but we can come pretty close. In 30 minutes, we'll show you the world.